Recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'll direct this first to Dr. Shafik. What does it say about college campuses like Columbia's today that we're sitting here having a congressional hearing to discuss significant anti-Semitism prevalent to a large degree on campuses like yours, and pro-terrorism sympathies on campuses like yours? How troubling is that to you? What does it say about our college campuses today that we're here doing this?
I am very troubled. I would say that we have 37,000 students, and I think the numbers that we are talking about who are crossing these lines are, a very, very small number of our total students.
Let me stop you there. Have there been any anti-Islamic demonstrations on campus, any anti-Muslim demonstrations on campus, any anti-Arab demonstrations on campus? Anything like that happened?
There have been many pro-Israeli demonstrations on our campus.
No, that's not what I asked you.
But there have there have been many incidents.
The answer would be no, correct?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
There would be incidents.
To the board members, if I may, what does it say about our college campuses today that we're having a hearing about anti-Semitic sympathies on campus, expressions on campus on a large scale, and pro-terrorist expressions on campus on a significant scale? What does that say about college campuses today like Columbia's? Anyone want to answer that?
Congressman, I think it says we have a lot of work to do. It's shocking.
What does it say about what's happening on our college campuses that this would even be an issue to such large degree that we're holding yet another congressional hearing on this subject?
I think, personally, I think it says that we have lost our way in terms of what we expect from each other in a learning community and in our society. I think we have got to learn to listen to all sorts of diversity, and we have to commit to speech that isn't laced with hate and isn't just meant to provoke for
Right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your efforts to try to answer that. President Shafik, as you know, on March 24, just 3 weeks ago, and 5 months after the October 7 terrorist attack in Israel, a coalition of a reported 94 Columbia student organizations led by Students for Justice in Palestine and Jewish Force for Peace held an event with guest speakers who are connected to and supportive of known terrorist organizations. Khalid Barakat spoke at the event. He's been identified as a member of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, a group that the United States, has designated a foreign terrorist organization. Another speaker was Charlotte Cates, who's affiliated with the Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network, which is designated as a terrorist group by Israel. What does it say that we allowed that event to take place on campus, remotely, but hosted on campus, held on campus? What does that say about Columbia today?
We did not allow that event to happen. The students applied to host that event at Columbia. We twice said no. They then tried to host it at our neighbor Barnard, who also said no. They then decamped to a dorm room and held it online. We immediately, as soon as we knew, notified the FBI. We brought in special investigators, and we
let me stop you there.
suspended the students
When did you
involved.
learn about this event was going to take place, or was being tried to be held to take place?
We learned on the day, and then we immediately contacted the FBI.
Were any safe spaces provided or other supportive measures created for students who might have felt threatened by the efforts to have this on campus, to have these speakers speaking remotely, at least on campus? Were there any measures taken for those students who might have felt threatened by this?
They were in a private space, and as I said, all of the students who were involved in organizing that event have been suspended.
All right, one of the primary organizer of the event was the Students for Justice in Palestine, which was suspended on November 10, but that was 4 months before the event took place. How could they be able to organize an event on campus? I mean, what entities or groups would you prohibit from organizing an event on campus? What's the criteria for approval or disapproval to be able to do that?
So we were one of the first universities to suspend Students for Justice in Palestine and the Jewish Voices for Peace.
But they were still able to hold an event.
Because they didn't abide by our rules and held unsanctioned events. we quickly realized, I think that was a very powerful symbol to say if student groups don't abide by the rules, there will be consequences for them.
I'm sorry,
and
with
that-
8 seconds left, I'm going to have to stop you. The Columbia University newspaper contained an op-ed from the Columbia University Apartheid Divest signed by 94 supporting student groups that were part of the coalition with Students for Justice for Palestine that organized the event. I would just like a response afterwards in writing as to whether or not these groups who were also supported, the other 94 groups, whether or not they would have been suspended or have funds pulled or any consequence of those other 94 groups, as reported in the Columbia University newspaper. Apologize, Madam Chairman, for going over a little bit. I yield back.